pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Reverend Peter Catt. He is Dean of St John's Anglican Cathedral and Chair of the Australian Church's Refugee Taskforce. He's been a passionate advocate over decades, and in particular an eloquent and principled leader and organiser for refugee rights. Please welcome him.
Thank you. It's great to be here, and I acknowledge the traditional owners of this land and acknowledge that it hasn't been ceded, and in the Cathedral community we're working out how we pay our rent. The election has been called. Okay, indeed. I would have groaned actually. But, the election's been called, and so for the next 6 weeks we will be subjected to simplistic slogans. Simplistic slogans about economy, about the environment, about refugees, about what it is to be Australian, and flags will be everywhere. On Palm Sunday, we say that such simplicity, the simplicity that we are fed by all politicians, is not good enough, because we live in a complex world. We live in a world where a simple declaration of war against one country, which Putin did not so long ago, he thought it would be a simple matter and he would re-establish Russian pride. Those sort of simple, pride-driven, short-term goal statements and policies that we've been enduring for ages just are not good enough. Because in a complex world, every decision has a consequence that goes on forever. Nearly 20 years ago, Howard, Bush and Blair invaded Iraq. They thought it would be a simple exercise to tidy up the world and make it fit their simplistic understanding of world order. We have been living with the consequences ever since. A world that was destabilised by short-term gain. A response needed to 9/11, so Bush decided to take it out on somebody. And the ripples continue, and they continue to this day. Refugees walk the face of this earth because of that intervention 20 years ago. The Ukraine invasion has already destabilised so much of the world, just to fulfil one guy's ego, really, and sense of national pride. And the ripples of that intervention will carry on for years. And our politicians just keep on sending arms, getting involved without talking to any of us, and they're not even taking it to Parliament. And so the vortex deepens. In 2014, Pope Francis said that World War III was starting by stealth. It was sneaking up on us. And he pointed to all these little things that were happening across the world, the invasion of Bosnia, the Arab Spring and its consequences, and he just said, look what's happening. And today we see that it is happening. So today we are actually here to demand that things be done differently. We're asking for serious diplomacy. We're asking for peacemakers. You can't get peace just by being peaceful. You actually have to make it. You have to be serious about it. And sabre wrestling against China is not going to bring peace. It's going to just deepen this creeping World War III the Pope talks about. On Palm Sunday, the origins of this day, Jesus went into Jerusalem on a donkey to signal that he was actually just going to undermine the whole structure. So one of the things we have to work together to do is to work out how do we undermine the structure in a peaceful way. It's very easy to repay violence with violence. It's actually human nature. If someone hits us, we want to hit them back. We bring a lot of anger with us today, and one of the challenges for us is not to turn that anger into hatred or violence. It's a huge challenge because we are angry enough to be violent. And we have to work out how we turn that anger into a transforming energy. And we need to do that for the sake of the poor and the disenfranchised, the refugees, those who are fleeing their homes in Ukraine, the largest movement in terms of people per day that the world has seen since World War II. It's our job to ask our politicians to behave differently. It's up to us to vote for people who will behave differently. The great thing about being in a democracy is we actually can do that. So thank you for being here today, and let us be a transformative force, and let us be peacemakers. Thank you.